There is a silence that follows betrayal, a silence so heavy, so suffocating, that it feels as though the entire universe has gone cold. You have felt it, that moment when someone you trusted, someone you gave your life to, someone you believed in with every fiber of your being turned their back on you, or worse, turned against you. You sat there in that silence, and in those darkest hours, you asked yourself a question that every soul who walks a higher path eventually must confront. Why me? But here is what no one told you. The silence you endured was not punishment, it was preparation. That darkness you walked through was not abandonment, it was initiation. And those who betrayed you, those who lied, those who whispered your name in shame, those who laughed when you stumbled and celebrated when you fell, they have already been silenced. Not by your hand, not by your revenge, but by the one force in this universe that has never and will never be stopped. The force of destiny meeting the soul it was always meant to carry forward. You are not reading or watching this by accident. Nothing in your life has happened by accident. Every wound, every betrayal, every night you cried alone, all of it was building something inside you that the world has never seen before. You are the chosen one, and it is time you finally understood what that means. Par or northeast, the mark of the chosen. You were never like the others, even as a child. You felt it, the strange, uncomfortable sensation of being slightly out of place, as if you had arrived in the wrong time or the wrong world. You felt things more deeply than those around you. You cared when others didn't bother. You saw beneath the surface of people and situations, perceiving truths that remained invisible to those who only looked with their eyes. People mistook your sensitivity for weakness. They called you too emotional, too intense, too much. They told you to toughen up, to stop dreaming, to come back down to earth. But what they were really saying, though they lacked the self-awareness to understand it, was that you made them uncomfortable. Your light made their darkness visible to themselves. Your hope reminded them of the hope they had abandoned. Your refusal to accept mediocrity was a silent accusation against the mediocrity they had settled for. The chosen one is never recognized at first. That is part of the design. If greatness announced itself with trumpets and golden light, everyone will line up to receive it. But true destiny is disguised as hardship, as struggle, as the life that seems to fall apart at every turn. The mark of the chosen one is not a crown, not yet. It is a wound. It is the scar of every injustice they survived. It is the calluses on the hands of someone who kept building even when the world kept tearing down. Look at your life right now. Look at everything you have been through. Every person who walked away. Every door that was slammed in your face. Every dream that seemed to die before it could be born. Now ask yourself, if all of that was meant to destroy you, why are you still here? Why are you still breathing, still thinking, still hoping, still reaching? Because you were not built to be destroyed. You were built to endure what others could not, so that you could carry what others would not. That is the mark. That has always been the mark. Part 2. The nature of betrayal. Let us speak about betrayal, because it is the crucible through which every chosen one must pass, and most people never fully understand what betrayal truly is or what it is meant to do. Betrayal is not an accident of fate. It is not random cruelty delivered by random people. In the life of someone walking a higher path, betrayal is always orchestrated by the universe itself, delivered through willing human vessels who do not understand that they are serving a purpose far greater than their own small agendas. Think about the people who betray you. Think about them carefully. Were they not, at some point, people you gave enormous energy to, people you protected, uplifted, carried, people who benefited from your loyalty, your creativity, your generosity of spirit? Of course they were, because that is how this works. The people who betray the chosen one are always people the chosen one has poured themselves into. Why? Because the universe needs you to learn the most important lesson of your entire journey. Your power cannot be housed in another person. You were giving away pieces of your light to people who did not know how to hold it. You were lending your strength to those who were quietly consuming it. And the only way the universe could reclaim what was yours, the only way it could give you back to yourself, was to have those people reveal their true nature. Betrayal is a violent surgery. It cuts out everything that was never meant to be part of your story. The friend who turned against you when you started rising. They were never meant for the destination you are headed toward. The partner who underestimated you. They were a chapter, not the whole book. The family member who doubted your vision. They were a mirror showing you what you needed to stop seeing yourself through. Every betrayal was a removal. And what remains after everything false has been stripped away is the purest, most unbreakable version of who you truly are. Part 3. What they took and what Washington has left. In the aftermath of betrayal, there is an inventory that every wounded soul conducts, often without realizing it. You count what was stolen from you, the time, the energy, the resources, the reputation they damaged with their words, the confidence they chipped away with their cruelty, the years you spent building something with someone who was secretly working against you. It is right to acknowledge what was taken. Do not let anyone tell you to simply move on without first sitting with the full weight of what you lost. To deny the loss is to deny the significance of what you invested, and what you invested was real. Your love was real. Your effort was real. Your belief in those people was real, even if they were not. But here is where most people stop at the inventory of loss. They spend years, sometimes entire lifetimes, counting only what was taken. They never turn the page to count what was left. And what was left is everything. What remains after betrayal is stripped of every false comfort. What remains is you, the absolute core of you, undiluted by anyone else's expectations or needs. You discover capabilities you never knew you had, because you never had to rely on them before. You find a depth of self-reliance that no one can give you and no one can take away. You encounter your own courage in the silence of nights, when you had to decide whether to give up or keep going, and you chose every single time to keep going. They took the scaffolding, but the building, the real structure of who you are, they never touched. They couldn't, because it was never accessible to them in the first place. Your core, your truth, your spiritual essence, these things live in a chamber that no betrayer has the key to. And now, with all the false attachments burned away, you can finally see the door to that chamber. You can finally walk inside and meet yourself fully for the first time. Part 4. The silence of the betrayers. Now let us address something that many people wonder about but rarely speak out loud. What happened to those who betrayed you? Where are they now? And why does it sometimes feel like they suffered no consequences for what they did? First, understand that the universe does not operate on human timelines. Justice in the spiritual realm does not arrive in the form of a visible catastrophe that you can witness and feel satisfied by. The consequences of betraying the chosen one are not always dramatic, they are not always public, but they are always real, and they are always permanent in ways that matter more than any visible punishment ever could be. The person who betrayed you is still alive, perhaps even appearing to thrive on the surface, but look closer, or rather, don't look at all, because your attention is too valuable to waste on them. What is happening in the lives of those who moved against you, who undermined you, who celebrated your pain? They are still there, exactly there, frowning in the same patterns, the same smallness, the same cycles of behavior that led them to betray you in the first place. They did not grow. They could not grow, because growth requires truth, and they chose deception. They chose the comfort of keeping you small over the challenge of celebrating your greatness, and that choice, the fundamental turning away from truth, has it cost the compounds over time. The silence of the betrayers is not the silence of a funeral, it is the silence of irrelevance. They have been removed from the story of your life, not violently, not dramatically, but completely. Their voices no longer reach you, their opinions no longer shape you, their presence no longer holds any power in the trajectory of your becoming. They have been silenced the way a candle is silenced by the sunrise, not extinguished, but rendered utterly beside the point. Part 5. The Spiritual Architect Court. You are of your pain. There's something your pain was building while you were busy just trying to survive it. Every human being who has ever been chosen for a greater purpose, whether they were chosen to lead, to heal, to create, to inspire, to transform, has had to pass through a season of suffering that seemed designed to undo them. This is not cruelty, this is architecture. The universe is an architect of extraordinary precision, and it builds its greatest instruments through processes that look, from the inside, like destruction. A sword is made by being heated to extreme temperatures and hammered repeatedly. A diamond is formed under incomprehensible pressure. A pearl is made through years of irritation, layer upon layer of response to discomfort, until something of breathtaking beauty emerges. You are not a mistake. You are not a casualty of circumstance. You are a masterwork in progress, and the suffering you have endured was never wasted. It was raw material. Every tear you cried deposited something into the foundation of your character that cannot be learned in any other way. Every night of loneliness deepened your capacity for a genuine connection. Every moment of being misunderstood expanded your ability to understand others. Every time you were betrayed and had to choose whether to become bitter or better, and you chose better, even imperfectly, even with enormous difficulty, you added another layer to the pearl. The spiritual architecture of your pain is a temple, not a ruin, and you are only beginning to see the outline of its walls. Step back far enough from your own story, pull the lens wide enough, and you will start to see the shade of something magnificent being constructed from what you thought was only rubble. The rubble was never the end of the structure. It was always the beginning of something that could not have been built any other way. Part 6. Why they ULD not follow you. This is perhaps one of the most important truths. You need to make peace with the people who left, who betrayed, who abandoned. They cannot follow you, not will not, cannot, and there is an enormous difference between those two words that will change how you carry the weight of every relationship you have lost. When you say someone will not follow you, you make it a choice, a deliberate rejection of you specifically, a decision made with full awareness and deliberate cruelty. But when you understand that they could not follow you, You begin to see them as beings with real limitations, beings who were genuinely incapable of traveling the road that was yours to walk. You were accelerating spiritually, emotionally, in terms of your vision and your understanding of what is possible. You were growing at a rate that was uncomfortable for people who had decided to stop growing. Your evolution made them feel stagnant. Your questions threatened their answers. Your willingness to go deeper scared people who had decided that the surface was enough. And so they did what people do when they feel left behind. They tried to pull you back. When pulling back didn't work, they undermined you. When undermining you didn't work, they betrayed you. It was never about you being unworthy of their loyalty. It was always about them being unable to rise to the level your path required. The ego does not mourn the fact that it cannot live with sparrows. It is not a judgment against sparrows to acknowledge that they cannot fly at the same altitude. They are what they are. You are what you are. And the altitude to which you are called simply cannot accommodate those who were never meant for that height. Let them go with love. Let them go with understanding, and then turn your face toward the sky that was always yours. Part 7. The Chosen on Northeast as Relationship with Solitude. One of the great misunderstandings about being chosen is the assumption that it must come with a crowd of followers, a circle of believers, a constant chorus of validation. But the truth is that almost every person who has ever fulfilled a great destiny first had to walk through an extended period of profound solitude, a solitude that tested their faith in themselves and in the purpose they were called to serve. You may be in that solitude right now. You may have experienced, after the betrayals, a kind of stripping away of almost every relationship that once gave your life its social texture. You may have found yourself in rooms that used to be full, now echoing and empty. You may have reached for your phone to call someone who is no longer there to answer. This solitude is not failure. It is not punishment for being too much or too little or somehow unworthy of companionship. It is a sacred appointment, because in that solitude, in the stark, uncomfortable, beautiful silence, you are finally meeting yourself without the noise of other people's perceptions, drowning out the sound of your own knowing. In solitude, you hear things, you hear the truth about who you are when no one is watching, when there is no audience to perform for, no one to be strung for, no role to maintain. You hear the voice that has been trying to reach you through all the noise, the voice of your own deepest wisdom, the voice of the universe speaking through your intuition. Most people are so terrified of solitude that they will fill every silent moment with distraction. They will surround themselves with noise, with people, with screens, with anything that keeps them from having to sit with themselves. The chosen one learns to do the opposite. The chosen one learns to go into the silence deliberately, to mine it for truth, to emerge from it with something that no crowd could have given them. Your solitude is not a waiting room, it is a forge, and you are being made inside it. Part 8. The Return of Your Power. There comes a moment, and if you have not reached it yet, know that it is coming when you realize that you have been given back to yourself. All of the energy you poured into the wrong people, all of the power you surrendered to those who did not deserve it, all of the pieces of yourself you left behind in relationships and situations that were never meant to last. Slowly, gradually, sometimes all at once, in a single breathtaking moment of clarity, it all comes back. This return of power is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not come with a dramatic scene of triumph over your enemies. It comes quietly, Usually in a small moment of ordinary life, you catch a reflection and recognize yourself again. You make a decision without second guessing what others will think. You say no, and you feel no guilt. You feel a vision forming in your mind about your future, and for the first time in a long time, it feels like your vision, not a compromise, not an apology for existing, but a true declaration of what you are meant to build. And then you feel it. A warmth spreading from the center of your chest outward, a vibration that you can only describe as brightness, as arrival, as coming home to something that was always yours but that you had, for a time, forgotten. This is the return. This is what every chosen one who has survived their crucible eventually experiences. The return is not just the recovery of what was lost. It is the discovery of what was always there, waiting beneath the weight of everything you were carrying for other people. Your power was never taken from you, it was obscured, and now the obscuration is lifting, and what is being revealed is more than you dared believe you were capable of. Even in your most optimistic moments, receive it. You have earned every single bit of it. Part 9 Northeast, where you are being called to build. The chosen one's path is never about personal triumph alone. It was never only about your healing, your success, your vindication. Those are gifts, and you should receive them fully, without apology or false modesty. But they are not the destination, they are the foundation. You are being called to build something. The precise nature of what you are to build is unique to you. It may be a community, a body of work, a movement, a family, a business, an art form, a philosophy, a way of living that inspires others to reclaim their own dignity. Whatever form it takes, it will carry the unmistakable signature of everything you survived, because what you build from a place of genuine transformation, from the ashes of your betrayals, from the wisdom of your wounds, from the hard-won clarity of your solitude, will have a quality that nothing constructed from comfort and ease can ever match. It will have truth in it, real truth, the kind of truth that people recognize immediately, because it resonates with their own unspoken experiences, their own buried pain, their own private hope, that all of it, all the suffering, all the confusion, all the love that went unreturned, was building towards something meaningful. You are the proof that it does. And when you stand in the fullness of what you are becoming, when you stop apologizing for the magnitude of your gifts, and stop shrinking to fit the smallness of other people's expectations, you become the living argument for every person who is still in the middle of their betrayal, still in the middle of their darkness, that there is something real on the other side. You become the evidence, you become the story that they will tell themselves at 3 in the morning when they are wondering if it is worth continuing. And yes, it is worth it. It has always been worth it, and you are going to show them why. Part 10, The Northeast, as who will me now. Everything changes after the betrayal is survived, after the solitude is honored, after the power returns. One of the most remarkable changes is this: new people begin to appear in your life, not replacements for what you lost, something entirely different. These new arrivals are recognizable by a quality that you cannot quite name at first: a resonance, an alignment, an absence of the constant low-grade friction that characterized your relationships with those who were wrong for your path. These are your true companions. They were always out there, but you could not find them. And they could not find you because you were still entangled in the wrong stories. still wearing the armor of someone who had not yet discovered their own worth. Now that you have been stripped and rebuilt, now that you carry yourself differently, speak differently, choose differently, you are emitting a different frequency. And that frequency is calling in exactly the souls who are meant to walk with you. They will not need you to be small so that they can feel adequate. They will celebrate your greatness because it mirrors something they are discovering in themselves. They will be honest with you in ways that feel like love rather than attack. They will disagree with you without abandoning you. They will stay when things are hard because they are drawn to your truth, not your performance. Do not rush this. Do not try to recreate the old structures with new people. Let these connections develop at the pace of real trust. You have learned, perhaps better than most, what it costs to give trust prematurely. You have also learned, and this is equally important, what it costs to withhold it indefinitely, to remain armored so long that nothing beautiful can reach you. The chosen one learns to hold both truths simultaneously, discernment without closure, openness without naivety. The heart that has been broken and rebuilt is not weaker than the one that has never known pain. It is infinitely stronger, and it recognizes its people with a precision that the unbroken heart cannot access. Part 11. A message to those still in the fire. If you are reading or watching this from inside your betrayal, if the wound is still fresh, if the people who hurt you are still present in your daily reality, if the smoke of what has been burned down is still in your lungs, this part is for you specifically. You do not have to be okay right now. You do not have to have it figured out. You do not have to perform healing before it has actually happened. What you have to do is survive the season. That is the only assignment. Survival, in this context, does not mean gritting your teeth and refusing to feel. It means choosing, every single day, not to let this experience define you as broken. It means allowing yourself to grieve what you have lost, while refusing to conclude that loss is the last word in your story. It means doing the bare minimum on the days when the bare minimum is all you have, and trusting that it is enough, because it genuinely is when the bare minimum is done with honesty rather than performance. The fire you are in right now is real. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Do not let spiritual bypassing, the tendency to skip past real pain with pretty words about lessons and growth, rob you of the right to acknowledge how much this actually hurts. It hurts. Of course it hurts. You are a person of depth, and you loved with depth, and you trusted with depth, and the depth of the wound is proportional to the depth of that investment. Honor that. Cry. Be angry. Sit on the floor and feel every wave of it. And then, when the wave has passed, even temporarily, stand up, drink some water, take one breath, and make one small decision in the direction of your own worth. That one decision is the thread. Pull it gently every day. It will lead you out. Part 12. The universe chose you on purpose. Let us return to the beginning, to the title, to the core of everything being said here. You are the chosen one, not in the sense of ego, not in the sense of superiority, not in the sense of being better than other people, in the sense that your specific life, your specific combination of gifts, wounds, experiences, sensitivities, a vision was chosen for a specific purpose that no other person, with their specific combination of qualities, could fulfill. You are not a generic soul assigned to a generic mission. You are a custom instrument, built with extraordinary care and precision, for a task that requires exactly what you have and exactly what you have been through. The betrayals were not oversights in your destiny, they were part of the blueprint. The suffering was not an interruption of the plan. It was the plan, or rather, it was the necessary process through which the plan could be brought to life. You were chosen, and you were chosen on purpose, with full knowledge of what it would cost you and full confidence on the part of the universe, of the intelligence that moves through all things, that you were capable of paying the cost and emerging, not diminished but amplified. This is the truth that the betrayers could not ultimately access. They thought they were ending you. They thought their actions would shrink you, silence you, defeat you. They did not know, they could not have known, because they were operating from a level of consciousness that cannot perceive what they were actually doing, that every blow they delivered was forging something they would never be able to stop. They thought they were writing the last chapter of your story. They were actually writing the first chapter of your legend. And legends do not end in defeat. They move through defeat. They metabolize it. They incorporate it into the irresistible force of a life. They refuse to be extinguished, and they rise, carrying the evidence of every battle survived, into a kind of wholeness and power that only those who have been through the fire can carry. That is who you are. That is who you have always been. And the best part, the most extraordinary part, is that you are only just beginning. Closing the declaration. So hear this, chosen one. Hear it not as a flattery designed to make you feel good, but as a truth you are being called to take responsibility for. You survived what was designed to break you. You outlasted what was designed to outlast you. You kept the light alive in conditions specifically engineered to extinguish it. And now, on the other side of everything they threw at you, here you stand, still breathing, still building, still becoming. The betrayers have been silenced, not because the universe punished them in the way you might have wanted to witness, not necessarily with dramatic public consequence, but because they are simply no longer relevant to where you are going. There were chapters. You are the whole book. There were seasons. You are the whole year and every year that follows. Their voices can no longer reach you because you have traveled beyond the range of their influence, and you are still accelerating from this moment forward. Let every decision you make come from the knowledge of who you are and what you were built for. Let every relationship be filtered through the hard-won wisdom of what you have survived. Let every dream you carry be held with both hands and pursued without apology, without diminishment, without the constant looking over your shoulder to see who is watching or who approves. They chose you. The universe chose you. Not for a comfortable life, not for a life of ease and uninterrupted happiness, but for a life of meaning, depth, impact, and truth. A life that will matter long after you are gone. A life that will touch people you have never met in ways you cannot yet imagine. That life is yours. It has always been yours. And no one, not a single betrayer, not a single doubter, not a single voice that told you that you were too much or not enough, can take one single day of it away from you. Go live it. The chosen one always does.